How's everybody doing? Hey, if you've got something to write something down on, or a note that you can write down on your phone or on tablet, I'm going to have you write down 3 things here in a few minutes. So if you want to get that ready, first of all, I want to say welcome to our visitors. If you're here visiting with us, thank you for being here. If you're a member, thank you for being here. Thank you for attending. You are an encouragement to me. We're glad you're here. I just want to tell a little bit about this church. This church believes that Jesus Christ is the center of all that we do. We believe that the cross represents love, and that love was extended to all mankind. And it's through Jesus, through his cross. We care about your soul's condition. I love that phrase. And we do care about it. Now, we're not a perfect people. We're on our journey. But we want to introduce you to Jesus if you don't know who he is. And if you do know who he is, we want to help you on that journey. We want to help you on the journey through this physical life on our way to our true home, heaven. Okay, if you got that piece of paper ready to write down 3 phrases. Even if God doesn't. I'm going to give you time to write it down. Even if God doesn't. See how fast everybody writes? There we go. Okay. My grace is sufficient for you. My grace is sufficient for you. Next phrase. Not my will, but yours be done. Not my will, but yours be done. If you have a Bible, if you'll turn to Daniel chapter 3. Daniel chapter 3, starting in verse 16. This is even if God doesn't. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to him, King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majestic hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up. Now they were facing a certain death in this furnace. But you know what? It didn't matter to them, because they had their plan to serve God, no matter what happened to them. Now, if you live on this earth, you're going to face physical hardships. You're going to go through difficult times. Because we live in this world, and that's the nature of this world, and there's no way around it. But we have to be able to say, even if this hardship is not taken away from me, I will walk through this hardship and through this life on my way home, which is heaven. The second phrase there is talking about Paul. My grace is sufficient. If you'll turn to 2 Corinthians 12. 2 Corinthians 12. Starting in verse 8. 2 Corinthians 12, verse 8. This is Paul talking. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you. For my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weakness, so that Christ's power may rest in me. Now Paul prayed that he wanted God to take away his physical handicap. Now you put yours in there. You put your hardship. You put your difficulty. God said no. God said, my grace is sufficient. And you say, maybe why? It's sufficient because it's enough because we have Jesus' death on the cross. The word grace, pick that up. My grace is sufficient because of the cross. Because it brings the full extent of the love of God to mankind, to you. My spiritual blessings that are extended for all mankind through the cross are enough to sustain us through the physical state that we're forced to live in, earth. Think about this, consider this. Hold your spiritual blessings through Jesus Christ with a firm grip. Don't ever let go of your spiritual blessings. Consider this. Keep hold of your physical blessings, the things that we enjoy on this earth. Hold on to them, but know that those can be taken away. Let's consider what Jesus said in Luke 22:42. And we're going to look at all three of the Gospels on when Jesus is praying in the garden for the cross, upcoming cross to be taken away. So Luke 22:42. Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours be done. And then if you go to Matthew 26:39, this is Jesus again, going a little further. He fell with his face to the ground and prayed, my Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as my will, but yours. And then if you go to Mark 14:36, Mark 14:36, and this is what Jesus said. Abba, Father, he said, everything is possible for you. Take this cup from me, yet not what I will, but what is your will. Now, consider this, that Jesus lived on this earth in a physical state and as a superior being, as a deity. But his physical state forced him to live through life like we are. He had physical hardship, and at these instances, he's looking at the cross. He had seen people hang on the cross and die from it. And he did not want to go there. And that was his greatest hardship that he had to go through. But let you think about this. He was able to keep his will and God's will in their proper place. That's our challenge, right? Not my will, but yours. Here's something else to consider. How dare we think that we should not have to go through hardship? You thought about that? Are we better than Jesus? Do we deserve a better life on this earth than Jesus did? Something to consider. The three phrases, even if God doesn't, his grace is enough, not my will, but God's will be done. If you think about these things, and you think about where you are in your life, and you think about some of the difficulties you're going through, and if you're not going through any difficulties, stick around. They're coming. Because this is a fallen world. The devil made it that way. So, think about these things. Please listen to the cross. Because the creator of the universe is extending his love to you. And will you answer the call from God through Jesus? Now, we have great leadership here. We have members here. If you want to talk about any of these things that you're going through, you are not alone. The ones with gray hair in here, they've been through it. And those that are older, please share your stories with us. We need to hear them. But Jesus is the answer for all that you're going through. His grace is always on the table, waiting for you to pick it up. But you might need to go back and pick it up again if you don't fully understand what it is. Now, if you're living a life that's difficult, we all are. But we have a home that we're going to. And that makes this life, these difficulties, worth living for. So, if you want to know how to do that, it's through Jesus Christ. He loves you, He cares for you, and that gift of grace is always on the table. It can never be taken away. So if you have a need, if you want to talk to someone up front tonight, or if you just want to see somebody afterwards, or if you want to call somebody, please do that. So please come forward if you have a need.